This is a story of a young girl who waited her whole life to marry the love of her dreams. But just 1 month after saying I do, the same house that welcomed her with open arms turned into a courtroom of judgment. Why? Because her womb hadn't yet whispered the news they were dying to hear. Amara has always been a woman of dreams, not dreams filled with luxury or fame, but simple ones. She believed in love, not the fairy tale kind, but the kind you build with loyalty, patience, peace, and partnership. She met Connor, a quiet, intelligent, and respectful young man during her NYSC posting in Lagos State. From day one, he stood out not because of money, but because he loved her like she was his entire world and how he made her feel safe, seen and respected. After 3 years of dating, filled with fights, makeups and growth, they eventually tied the knot in a simple yet beautiful ceremony filled with music, prayers and family blessings. His family sang praises of her beauty, her humility, and how lucky their son was. Amara felt like she had finally entered a family that accepted her as their own. Everyone said, this is the kind of love story we all pray for. But nobody warned her that joy can quickly turn into scrutiny. The first few weeks after the wedding were filled with laughter. Her mother-in-law, Mama Connor, would call her our wife. Her sister-in-law, Titi, would ask her how the honeymoon was. Amara was adjusting, learning new recipes, helping out in family gatherings, and settling into her new home with grace. But barely 3 weeks after the wedding, things began to shift. It started subtly. At a Sunday family lunch, someone joked. Still nothing yet, Amara. You're not sleeping on the same bed or what? Everyone laughed. Except Amara. At that time, Auntie Titi stopped calling her our wife and started calling her Madam Rest. Her mother-in-law, Mama Connor, began asking strange questions. Amara, are you sure everything is okay with your body? Have you two been doing the needful? Connor, at first, laughed it off. Ignore them, my love. It's just the old people and their walla. But by the end of the first month, things got worse. Mama Connor came to spend a few days with them. One morning, Mama Connor brought a plate of pepper soup to her and said, "You better eat this and warm your womb. At your age, some people have 2 children already." She began boiling herbs, making suspicious comments, and calling the pastor to break the spirit of barrenness. One Sunday, in front of church members, Mama Connor whispered, "Our wife is too modern. She probably uses family planning to tie our son's destiny." Connor stood up that night. "Mommy, if you came here to break my marriage, I'll pay for your return trip myself." He defended Amara, not just as a husband, but as a man who understood that pregnancy is not a timed assignment. Amara began to shrink. She dreaded waking up. Her once loving home became a prison of judgment. She barely smiled. She cooked in silence. Cleaned in silence. Loved in silence. No one asked how she was feeling, if she was adjusting, if she needed support. They only wanted a grandchild. Connor was torn. He loved Amara deeply, but the pressure from his family was choking. He begged her, "Let's just go for tests, just to silence them." They did and Amara and Connor was fine. There was no issue. Only God's timing. The doctor said, "You both just need to relax. Conception is not mathematics." But to the family, logic didn't matter, only a baby did. Mama Connor said she wasn't fasting enough. Titi said she must be using modern family planning behind Connor's back. Even church members began to drop comments like, "We are waiting for good news, oh." But the pressure felt like poison. One day, Amara broke down in the bathroom. She cried like a child. She held her stomach and whispered, "God, please, just one child. So they can let me breathe." Connor saw the change in her. The light in her eyes had dimmed. So he did something rare in African homes. He stood up during a family meeting and said, "Enough. If Amara never gives birth, she is still my wife. If you cannot love her without condition, then you don't love me either." There was silence. Mama Connor packed her things and left angrily. And peace returned to their home. 3 months after that incident, Amara began to feel weak. She thought it was malaria until the doctor smiled and said, "Congratulations, Ma. You're 6 weeks pregnant." Tears flowed. Not just from her eyes, but from her soul. Connor lifted her in joy, whispering, "You see, I told you it was just time." But that's not all. Few months later, she gave birth to 2 beautiful boys. Mama Connor came to the hospital crying, begging, "Forgive me. I let society blind me. You're a good woman, Amara." Amara, holding her babies, said, "It's okay, Mama. Let's thank God. All I ever wanted was peace." This story isn't just about Amara. It's about every woman whose worth has been measured by her womb. It's about every family that has turned blessings into burdens. Marriage is not a pregnancy contract or race. Love is not proven through the speed of conception. Women are not baby-making machines. And motherhood is not a woman's only purpose. Let families grow at God's time, not society's schedule.